Hi everyone, we're going to take a few minutes before you get started with your project just to take you through some best practices in using your jumping clay in terms of opening it, working with it, storing it, and also how you let your models dry. So I'm just going to flip the camera down before we get started. So your clay will come in one of two ways. You will either have it in a Ziploc bag or in the little tubs which close up. So when you're opening your clay, with the tubs, all of these, when they arrive new, will have a little seal on them. So you just remove that and you can take your clay out. With the Ziploc bags, you're just going to tear along the top. I'm going to open it up and your clay is going to be inside. So just take it out. And if you find that your clay is stuck to the bag or you can't get all of it out, what you can do is just turn the bag inside out, and if there's any little bits stuck, you can just dab it off like so. So that's how you open your clay. Now, when you are working with your clay, you want to warm it up to start off with. So just take a little piece of whatever you're going to need and just going to stretch and fold, and this will warm it up. Sometimes when you open your clay, if you haven't used it for a little while, it may not be just as soft. So this one is a little bit, it's not as soft, but all we need to do is warm it up in our hands. So just give it a little squeeze like this, and we just stretch and fold, and very quickly that's going to come back and be nice and soft. So if you've got smaller pieces, they may have just got a little more air into them, but all you need to do is just give that a good stretch. Okay, so now when you are working with your clay, you want to use a nice clean tabletop. So any surface, just like I'm just working on a normal table here, but it's important that it's clean. So if there's any little things like pencil rubbings or anything at all, you want to just dust all of those off, because the clay will it'll stick to all of those little bits and pieces. So another good thing while you're working with your clay, it's important to remember that it's an air drying clay, so therefore it will harden when it's left in the air. So to make sure that we preserve our clay while we're working with it, you will see if you're working with tubs, these little tubs here, I've got them all turned upside down. So all you need to do is take a little piece out, whatever you need, and then pop it back. So if you forget about them and go off to do something else, it means that they won't dry up. Equally, if you're working out of the bags like this, I suggest you get a plastic container, so it's some kind of a container that you can see through, and then just keep it over like so. Okay. Now, when you are finished working with your clay, this is probably the most important thing, because you want to make sure that everything is sealed up properly. So any clay that you haven't used, you're going to put it back into your bag, and this is the important part. You're going to zip, press really hard, and just zip, zip, zip. Okay, and you'll just make sure that that's completely sealed. And it's probably a good idea to get an adult just to check that those are all closed up. With your tubs, you need to make sure that the lid is also on tightly. So just line it up, give it a good stretch, and make sure it's not crooked, and that'll be it all nice and safe. Okay, so just some more tips now for when you're actually working with your clay. The first thing I'm going to talk about is colour mixing. So when you are going to mix some colours, it's always a good idea to start with small amounts. So if I'm going to make pink, for example, I've got some white here, and I'm just going to add a tiny little piece of the red clay because I can always add more. If I add too much and I make it too dark, then I'm going to have to add lots and lots of white and I'm going to waste my clay. So it's always a good idea to just start with a small amount and then you can add some more in, and that's of the darker colours. Okay. If you've mixed colours and you are working with the Ziploc bags, you're going to wonder how to store this. So what you can do is just push. This is a white bag of clay, so I'm just going to push my white down to the bottom, and then I'm going to just pop my mixed pink in the corner. And if I had another colour, I can just use this corner as well and zip like so. Okay. The other thing is getting your clay nice and smooth. Okay. The way we do that, we've already looked at how we warm our clay up to make it nice and soft. That's the first stage. But when you're rolling, you want to roll nice and hard. So